Hello everybody, this is Rob. Thank you guys for tuning in. Today we will be reviewing the 2012 Honda CBR250R. We will go over how it feels, what the bike is about, the specifications of it, and also if this is a good bike for a beginner or not, as well as a bit of an issue I have with the term beginner bike. So thank you guys for tuning in. Let's get going on this. Alright you guys, let's go over the specs of this bike. So it is a 249.4cc to be exact, single cylinder motor. It does have a 6-speed transmission, does have front and rear brakes of course. The ABS is actually an optional feature. The model I am on right now, it is not an ABS model. That is okay with me. The front and rear tires, they are 17s. The rear in particular, 140 by 70, 17-inch rear, so they're not too big. You know, if you have a 600 or a liter bike, of course the tires will be much bigger. So it just has those typical small cc tires. It also does have a seat height of 30.5 inches. This is great. Personally, I am 5'5", so it actually fit me pretty well. You know, being also that it is a smaller cc bike, I don't feel like I'm essentially sitting on a rocket like when I sit on a 600 or especially a liter bike. So that is nice if you are looking for something that, you know, is a bit more comfortable to sit on, especially if you aren't as tall, such as myself. For the fuel tank, it does have a 3.4 gallon tank. Estimated fuel economy is supposed to be around 77 miles per gallon, which is great. Weight wise, by today's standards, it can be considered a little bit chunky for a low cc bike. You know, the ABS model is 366 pounds. A non-ABS model, which once again is the one I am on, is the 357 pounds. So not bad at all. It does come in 3 colors. The white, pearl blue, and red color scheme, which I love, red and silver. And then the one that I am on right now, which is the metallic black. I do want to stop right here for a second. I do apologize. I don't have a very good walk around of this particular bike. That is because I had sold the bike before I had thought that I should make this video. But it is a stock 2012 CBR250R. Nothing special. All I had added to it were frame sliders. A little bit of a side note. I do recommend frame sliders wholeheartedly, especially if you are looking for this as your first bike. This bike took a lot of drops. You know, it was my first bike. A lot of U-turns, a lot of tight turn practicing. And I am so glad I got those frame sliders because those took, I'd say, 90% of the damage with just the mirrors taking the last bit of it. Once again, frame sliders, you will not be disappointed. Buy them now if you want this bike and you intend on learning a lot with this bike. Alright, so how does this bike ride power-wise? Well, you know, this motor, it does only push out a whole 13 horsepower at 8,500 RPMs. As well as 16 pounds of torque at 7,000 RPMs. Yes, I know you won't be winning any races, but you know, I still did time a 0 to 60 in the mid 6s, so it's not the worst thing ever. And that's why I have some issues, you know, only discounting this bike as a beginner bike, because this would also be a great daily bike, especially if you aren't hitting up the freeways. Alright, can the bike do the freeway? Yes. But will this bike shine more for you on the street? Yes. The bike is small, it's easily maneuverable, you get in between cars, and then at 77 miles per gallon, you're going to be saving a lot on gas. And let's face it, that's always nice. You know, if you're looking at this bike as sort of a budget daily commuter, this could also be, you know, the right bike for you. And then of course, as that Honda reliability and that Honda, you know, low maintenance, I would highly recommend this. If you just need something cheap, that'll do the job, and it'll just get you from point A to point B. Especially because you can get these secondhand for not a lot. You know, my particular model, 2012, with only about 11,000 miles, I had gotten it for about $1,800. That's not bad at all. You know, I was able to learn on it, daily drive it a little bit, and still actually sold it, and I actually made a couple $100 profit. So it's really not the worst deal. How is this bike in turns? It is excellent. You know, this is a great bike to learn how to, you know, carve corners. It's a bike that's actually just great for carving corners, even if you're not a beginner. It's lightweight. Yes, it doesn't have a lot of power, so it really makes you have to line up your curves just right, make your turns perfect. And remember, smooth is fast. Alright, anyone with a 600 or a liter bike, they're going to be able to do a sloppy job on the curves and then accelerate on the straightaways to catch up. This is a bike that you'll be able to keep up with those 600 and liter riders with way less horsepower, because this is a bike that will truly hone your skills, and it is a bike that will truly make you master the timing of the turns, the apex, everything. This is the kind of bike that you buy if you want to become an excellent rider and you don't want to kill yourself in the process. So Rob, why did you buy this bike? Well, I didn't want to buy a brand new bike. I didn't want to drop a brand new bike, because then I'd be sad. You don't want to be sad when you're riding your first bike, because when you drop it, I guarantee you, you won't be a happy camper at the end of the day. That's why I wanted something older, something used. I dropped this bike and I just said, oh well, I picked it up and I kept on riding. Yes, the frame sliders helped a little bit, but at the end of the day, it was nice to not be sad by it at the end of the night, about a drop bike. Also, the replacement parts are cheap in case you do drop it. I ended up bending a few clutch levers. Each new one only cost me $10. And then after an hour, I was ready to go again. So that was also great. It is a low-powered bike, yes, but you know what they say about riding a slow car fast? Same applies to a bike. Had so much fun ringing through the gears on this one. As a 6-speed transmission, it was just so much fun to shift and to throttle through and not have to worry too much about breaking the speed limit. And then that seat height was perfect for me. Once again, I'm not a taller rider. And I do know you do not need to have both feet on the ground. The bike I bought after this, I definitely could not flat foot. But for your first bike, it is really, really nice to have that sort of sense of security about you, especially when you are on uneven grounds, which is quite prevalent if you're in California like me. Now for my closing comments. 2012 Honda CBR250R non-ABS model. I do recommend it. It is a great bike. I really enjoyed it. This was a fun bike to own. I will always recommend this as a good bike for a beginner, and also for if you are just looking for a nice daily rider. Get it from point A to point B as quickly as you can. Like I said, it is light, it is small, it is maneuverable. This is a bike that you will enjoy using, especially if you're just street riding. And then the gas is always a big plus. So with that being said, this is Rob, and have a good one.